If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Can't believe I got paywalled by the Daily Mail. Who apparently has details about Diana's Rossini's her relationship currently with her husband. Which I'm dying for the details. You don't have a Daily Mail login?
We'll see if I can figure it out.
Christian?
Before the end of the show.
No, I don't.
You think Salazar would pay for that?
Yeah, we're just throwing money around.
Right.
Hey, boss, can you
we need to know the latest. It's a work thing. All right. Time for the top 3 stories of the day. KSLSports.com, brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, the NBA lottery is on Sunday. Our own Ben Anderson just put out an article. What are the best and worst case scenarios for the Jazz?
And there's the obvious one. If the Jazz fall to 8, that's worst case scenario. And if they win the lottery, it's best case scenario. And good news for Jazz fans. Breaking, hardcore insight.
You didn't launch that one for Hot Take Tuesday?
I know, I didn't save it. The good news for the Jazz fans is they are 5 times more likely to end up with the best case scenario than the worst case scenario. You know, you've got a 10-ish% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick and only a 2-ish% chance of falling to 8. Mm-hmm. And really the ultimate value is that you're holding on to this pick regardless for the Jazz. So, and then it's basically a coin toss if you're going to be top 4, which is where there's real value in this draft, or 5 through 8, which is where I think it falls off not a cliff necessarily, but it's pretty guard heavy, and I think guards in the lottery probably don't provide the most value because I just think big players win.
What do you think they get at 7? Because that's where it's coming up.
And that's the 29 or 27% chances they're going to draft at 7. Yeah, it's probably going to be a guard. Now, I don't think the Jazz, obviously, should feel beholden to taking a guard just because that's what Draft Express says or whatever. If you like a wing...
Yeah, what's that jabroni's name again?
Jonathan Givony. Him quitting ESPN seems like it was a big mistake because you haven't heard about him at all since then.
Whoops.
And he had done a good job building up his name and then got to ESPN and then clearly felt like they were undervaluing him, so he quit. We'll see if he bounces back, but the draft is in a month and I haven't heard him talking hardly at all. It's pretty brutal.
I don't even know his name.
Yeah. So I'm curious what the Jazz will do if they do not land in the top 4. But even then, do you think there's a scenario where the Jazz trade the pick?
Yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't there be? I think there's always a scenario, but yeah, absolutely. Where they are trying to make the next step or whatever. I remember, Ben, and it wasn't, top 8, but when the Jazz flipped, I think it was 12 for George Hill.
Yeah.
The worst draft show I've ever done. Mm-hmm. Because, we're winding up. What are the Jazz going to do at 12? And then all of a sudden, bam, traded.
Yeah.
Then we talked about George Hill,
of course.
But it turned out to be just what the doctor ordered. That Jazz team did not need another rookie.
At all.
Remember where they were in the process, so to speak, of Gordon Hayward was still there. Rudy had become a guy. Who am I looking for? Who was the Duke shooting guard, who was Rodney Hood?
Yeah.
Looked like he could be a piece.
Right.
They just needed a veteran, and they needed a point guard.
Yeah.
And Dennis Lindsey had a history with George Hill at San Antonio, on and on and on. They flipped for George Hill, and he was awesome. And I know he only made it a year with the Jazz, but he turned out to be just what the doctor ordered. And really, if it wasn't for him having maybe the world's worst agent, he would have been
One of the faces of the franchise.
One of the faces of the franchise for a while. And people forget he was like a 2010 dude for the first half of that season and was really what that team needed. And so, does this Jazz team need another rookie? Not really. Does that mean they're going to pass on A.J. DiBonsa? No. Not at all. But if it comes down to, well, should I take a tiny guard or should I flip it for some other piece? I would never take that off the table, right?
Yeah, and some of that, again, it's like best case scenario being 1, worst case scenario being 8 isn't exactly the strongest analysis I could offer. It's like, maybe consider trading the pick. It's not groundbreaking.
Well, you're not going to trade the first pick. You're probably not going to trade the second pick.
Right.
In all honesty.
No, for sure.
You're probably not going to trade
keep the pick.
top 4.
In general, you're more likely to keep it. But there is definitely a world where the Jazz say, and because the truth is, and you've done 20 drafts in your life, and I've done 15 drafts, and I've been to 5 drafts, and all these things. Like, the truth is, the more you watch them, the more you recognize that while there are always great players taken in the teens and always great players taken in the 20s, every draft, whether they say it's the worst draft ever or the best draft ever, once you get to about 8, 9, 10, it's the same almost every year, whether that's Taylor Hendricks or Cody Williams or whoever's going to be at 8, 9 this year, where there's a realistic chance the Jazz could be selecting at 7 or 8. So if that's the case, you don't want to add another player of that caliber who needs 3 years of runway before they improve to become a real guy. You could absolutely hit a grand slam there, no question about it. Mm-hmm. But the odds are generally pretty slim that it's going to happen. So if there was a true, two-way, what do you think the Jazz need the most on this team? Probably a two-way guard. Probably someone to play at shooting guard who...
Well, like a 2 and a 3 are the same position.
Yeah, exactly
nowadays.
right. A wing.
So a wing, a two-way wing, yeah.
If there was a good, and the Jazz aren't going to trade it for, Chris Dunn. That's not what anyone's saying. They're not trading it for Jalen Suggs, but you're talking about, a really high-level two-way wing that could be a part of the team for 4 or 5 years while Jaren Jackson Jr. and Lauri Markkanen are under contract. I think it's probably fair to say that you can't rule that out.
But do you need, here's where I think about it. Do you need Kingston Fleming, or what's his name?
Yeah, Kingston
Flemings. Yeah, from the guard from Houston. Not really?
Yeah, right. Not really.
Not really?
And then he's going to be really in the conversation at 5.
And what did Kristen tell us about the basically 5 through 10? It's guard land.
Yeah, it's all guard land.
It's point guard land.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they feel about Collier. I think we're pretty comfortable with how they feel about Keontae George. I don't know if they need another guard.
Yeah, they might not.
So why wouldn't you consider moving it at that point? Especially in a draft where everybody is sold on it being amazing.
Right.
Maybe it's not amazing for what you need.
Yeah, maybe you sucker somebody. And that's what you got to be on the, that's what you got to be looking
Just
out for.
whatever they do not flop that pick for Ja Morant.
No.
Do not flop that pick for Ja
No, that'd be
Morant.
that'd be a big mistake. But, yeah, you can skip some of those early years on a player of, are they going to make it or are they going to develop? And, 50-50 chance a guy you get at 8 doesn't turn into anybody ever. It's like you could avoid that outcome if you just feel like the most important thing is adding a guaranteed pick. Now, I will tell you, the fun part of me, or the part of me that thinks is most fun, is taking a swing, hoping a guy turns out, maybe you get a star. That's the most fun part of this. So, the storyteller part of me would say, no, don't make a trade. But again, to your point, the Taurean Prince for George Hill trade, George Hill was a way better player than Taurean Prince. I think that was a really good move. Even if Taurean Prince didn't turn in, or George Hill didn't last a long time in Utah, that was absolutely the right trade.
Yeah, it worked out great for the Jazz, even though it only lasted for a year, and he was not as healthy as he could have been. Apparently, he had really, mutant feet. A lot of basketball players have foot problems. Have you ever seen pictures of Shaq's feet?
Yeah. LeBron's toes, notoriously.
Just mutant feet. Well, you don't want to talk about mutant feet, Christian?
You're the one talking. I have to sit here and listen.
What's your foot quality? You go regular pedicure guy?
Super average, yeah. No pedicures.
No problems.
No.
Corns?
Nope.
Okay.
Would you be embarrassed to get a pedicure?
No, my wife wants to take me. I'm a little scared, but I'm a little ticklish.
Okay.
What's next, Christian?
Injury news for the NBA playoffs. Joel Embiid out tonight for Philly. Ayo Dosunmu available for Minnesota. Anthony Edwards questionable.
But he did go through his normal pre-game routine, and it sounds like he's fine. I would be pretty surprised if Ant doesn't play in this game. But yeah, the big story is Joel Embiid not playing in Game 2 was just like, yeah, that's the problem. And we talked about them beating the Boston Celtics and how good he was late in that series when he came back from the appendectomy. And when he's healthy and when he's on the floor, he is one of the best players of this generation. That when carries a lot of weight, as does Joel Embiid. He just is not healthy very often.
The NBA really didn't do him any favors, though, playing on Monday.
No, they went Saturday, Monday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
A very quick turnaround.
And I think Embiid played like 40 minutes or something like that on Saturday. I mean, yeah, I agree with the overall. I agree with the overall point you're making. That's the flaw of that dude for sure. But I criticize the NBA a lot for spacing out these games. They didn't space out those at all.
No breathers.
No breathers whatsoever.
Right, especially because we talked about how weird that Monday game was, where they overlapped with each other for 90 minutes. I think they started at halftime of the other game.
Well, and was it the Lakers who finished on Friday and they waited all the way until Tuesday?
Yeah, they didn't have a...
And Oklahoma City has obviously been done for like a week and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad scheduling by the NBA. I agree with you. Good point on that. And maybe, you could have given Joel a little bit of extra time off, but... he's not out there tonight. Knicks obviously absolutely stomped them in Game 1. I bet you this game's a little bit closer than Game 1 was because I don't expect the Knicks to shoot 63% from the floor and 50% from the three-point line.
Well, they can't pick on Embiid in the pick and roll. So
that's true.
Help.
And he's just like that was a bizarre outcome for the Knicks. That was also some shooting luck.
Doesn't this mean that my guy Drummond is going to get a bunch of run?
Andre Drummond probably going to get some more burn here, but
yes,
I don't necessarily or really don't want to hear.
Bona's going to be on the floor more.
I like a damn Bona. I don't need to hear the narrative of, oh look, the 76ers are better without Joel. Like they're drawing dead without Joel.
Oh, if they play well, that's all you're going to hear.
Yeah.
You know what I like about this series though? It's already turning dirty. Well, Embiid after the last game said the Knicks are dirty and he's going to have to go out and play that way.
Okay.
And then everybody was talking about how he broke Mitchell Robinson's ankle in two. What was that? Was that last year or 2 years ago? With a dirty play?
Yeah, it must have been. Probably wasn't last year. Maybe it was.
So I kind of like it that both teams are out for blood.
Yeah, I like teams that don't like each other. That's more fun to watch, certainly. I hope this series is long. The Knicks, again, are not really designed to do what they did in Game 1 for 4 straight games. I don't have a lot of faith that that's who they actually are.
Well, we forget that they had lost how many games to the Hawks?
Yeah, went to 6.
Yeah.
So, no, absolutely. They are going to blow some games. They have some games where they just no-show.
And I don't think the Hawks are changing the world anytime soon.
And a reminder that Joel didn't play for the first half of the first-round series against the Celtics, and Philly did win that series because they have a really dynamite backcourt with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. So they still will have a puncher's chance to keep this game close. And then the other game tonight, as we mentioned, Game 2 between the Spurs and the Timberwolves, which is clearly the best series going.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
What's next?
Number 3, Ted Turner passed away today, age 87.
We debated putting this in here, but this is truly a sports story. He was the owner of the Braves. He revolutionized sports media in a couple of ways we can talk about, but he did own the Braves during the heyday of the Braves, and I realize they've won a World Series since. But you're talking Glavine and Smoltz and Maddox. Who was the crazy guy coming out of the bullpen? Your guy John Rocker.
Yeah, big rocker guy.
That might be the best pitching staff
Probably ever. Chipper Jones.
But then, you're looking at Ron Gant and Chipper Jones and these teams that were really good and actually almost went down as the Buffalo Bills of baseball. Because you remember they kept making the World Series and they kept losing. And then they finally got a win over, who was it, Ben? Do you remember who they beat? I want to say it was the Indians, but I could be wrong about that.
He also owned the Atlanta Hawks. He owned the Atlanta Thrashers for a little while. So, one of the most meaningful faces in sports ownership in the 90s and early 2000s there. And more importantly, I think, than even all of that, though, I think if you were to do a general poll of 10 people, you would get at least one would say the Atlanta Braves of who their favorite Major League Baseball favorite team is. Even though there's really no reason for that to be the case other than they were on TV
They were
a bunch.
on TBS.
They were on TBS, which is the Turner Broadcasting System, named after Ted. And he revolutionized how sports are broadcast, and how you can view them and who gets viewed. And, there's even a joke about The Simpsons about getting illegal cable. And Homer, I think, climbs up the pole and cuts the cord. And Bart is arguing with him and saying, don't do it. How are we going to watch the Atlanta Braves? It was a part of the not streaming, but cable experience early in the iteration of the 70s and 80s. And Ted Turner really revolutionized that. And it's still how we watch sports.
Really, I picture the Braves on TBS in the 90s.
Yeah, certainly the 90s.
I wonder when he started that. But it did inspire just obnoxious front-running Braves fans everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, half the sports fans in my class at school would wear Braves crap.
Yeah, they were really easy to root for because they won a lot.
They did.
Yes, their rotation was 3 Cy Young winners.
It's nice.
Pretty good.
It's nice. Makes you look good. Sure does. And then Deion Sanders came and played for him, and they had this cool factor to him. And yeah, he was an innovative guy for sure.
He's an interesting guy, and I read about him a lot this morning. Obviously, when some of the memoriams or obits or whatever you want to call them, but lost 80% of his net worth in the early 2000s because he teamed with AOL and put all of his stock there, and AOL just absolutely crashed, and he rebuilt himself. He just kind of hit a lot. He got lucky on some real smart things. He inherited a billboard business from his dad, turned it into an advertising business, bought a TV station in Atlanta, and then turned into everything. Truly one of the more important, ultra-wealthy people of our lifetime.
Married your hero, Jane Fonda.
Had 5 kids.
Did they have 5 kids?
I think with Jane. He has 5 kids at the very least. At least some of them are with Jane. She said he was very difficult, though apparently quite well liked. No filter. Didn't know how to not say awkward things to people.
Well, yeah. When you're above it all, you're going to say whatever comes to your mind.
Yeah.
If I get that kind of scratch, look out.
Watch out. Every day's Hot Take Tuesday.
Yeah. All over town. What are you going to do about it? Nothing.
But also a great philanthropist and interesting.
Best thing he did was hire James Earl Jones.
Okay.
This is CNN. It's iconic.
Invented CNN. Created CNN.
You need a voice to be the voice of your, I don't know, not the network, but of your tagline.
Which I might argue ruined the media. CNN.
James Earl Jones?
No, CNN. That's not a hot-leaning political take. 24-hour news probably being turning the news into an entertainment destination, not very good, in my opinion.
Honestly, if you want to talk, you have a media discussion, I think it was actually 60 Minutes that ruined the news.
Okay.
And here's why. No offense to 60 Minutes, but it was the first news program to really ever make any money.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the news industry said,
oh, this is a for-profit business.
Oh, wait, we can make money off this thing? Well, look out!
Yeah.
And then now it's, I would argue in the 80s, CNN was actually news. Early 90s, you think of Desert Storm and all that stuff, where, what's the guy's name? Not Coyote. What's his name?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Wolf?
Wolf Blitzer?
Yeah, that one. Really cut his teeth, made it, that it actually was. That's why the airport has CNN, because it actually used to be news. And I don't know what, I don't watch cable news at all. That does not cross my, so I don't know what they are now. But they did actually used to be news. But 60 Minutes was really the first news show where they made a big-time profit off of it.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, Rupert Murdoch thought, I can make money off this news thing.
Those two did not like each other.
Ted Turner and Rupert Murdoch?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, brutal.
Just like, who were the train barons back in the day? Rockefeller? No.
Yeah.
Was he a train guy?
Isn't that where he got his money from?
That sounds
right. Or was that just investing? I think it was also trains. But yeah.
Who was the Rio Grande guy? Have you ever looked into those stories about track going through the Old West and it was literally murderous mobs like conquering territory?
Some great Utah history there.
Great Utah history.
Yeah. Vanderbilts.
Oh, yeah, the Vanderbilts. Yeah. Which is, speaking of CNN, what's his name's Gloria Vanderbilt's kid, right? Mm-hmm. Anderson Cooper? Mm-hmm. Wonder how he got his start.
Yeah, right.
He used to be on Channel 1.
I never watched Channel 1. They didn't do that at my school.
Really? Mm-hmm. At Highland?
Mm-hmm. We did HTBS. We had our own.
Well, of course you have your own.
No, we didn't do
have
Channel 1.
Channel 1 additionally?
Oh, Christian, you guys watch Channel 1? Do you know what that is?
No idea what that is, no.
It was a news station for schools. that would talk about kid stuff.
They'd force you to watch it.
Yeah.
No, dude, they were sending Anderson Cooper into war zones. It wasn't just kids stuff.
Yeah,
it was
okay.
like
Yeah.
it was like Anderson Cooper goes to the Middle East.
He and Wolf Blitzer.
Well, that's just what was happening at the time.
He was throwing himself in it. I give him a lot of credit. Downtown Beirut. This is Anderson Cooper for Channel 1. Nobody thought, is this worth it? We're forcing millions of kids to watch a news broadcast? I don't think we need to send Anderson Cooper into downtown Beirut. I don't think that's necessary.
You paid attention?
Stay tuned. More Jacob Ben next. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I'm here on the job site with Dale, who's a framing contractor.
Hey, good morning.
Dale traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for all his business vehicles. We're here where he needs us most.
Yep, they sure are.
We make it easy for him to save on all his insurance needs, all in one place, with coverage that fits his business and bottom line. Oh, I shouldn't have looked down.
It's all right.
We're so far up here.
Look at me. Take a deep breath.
No, I'm good. So good.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.